All right, my man Jabari had a question this week, and he was asking it in regards of a business plan. So he said, okay, you have a business plan, it goes A, B, C, D, all the way to Z. He said, is it okay to skip B and go straight to part C or D? And the simple answer is, of course. Here at the Venture College, for a startup, we do not trust business plans. Meaning that they're full of assumptions. They're all just guesses. If I had a lifestyle business or a successful enterprise business where I already knew cost of acquisition, cost of marketing, I knew my customer segments, I could actually define them, and I could pinpoint the revenue, that's when a business plan makes sense because you're dealing with facts. Where it doesn't make sense is when you've dreamt up an idea and now you're about to start it, and so you write out this 15, 20, 40 page document spelling out how your business is going to work. So that's really the goal of the business model canvas, is it takes the principles of a business plan and puts it on one piece of paper. That way you don't have to spend pages and pages talking about your marketing plan. You just put a sticky note and say, I'm going to try Facebook, and I'm going to try word of mouth. And for the revenue, I'm going to try charging $20. And I think my core customer segment is X, Y, and Z. A personal story on this, just so you get an idea of why it's important to change into what we call pivot. So when I first launched my startup about 7 years ago, it was kind of the idea of what's now known as Home Advisor and Thumbtack. And so I, as a user, could contact like 6 or 7 plumbers or lawn care business professionals and get quotes all at once. And so I spent way too much money and way too much time building out this software. But I had already done customer interviews that said people would appreciate this service. Like, people told me face to face they'd appreciate the service. And I had already called all these businesses, and I asked them, like, hey, can we send you free leads? Because at this point I was just testing my idea. And so I went the freemium model of just like, here, give it for free so you can get feedback. And all the businesses, of course, were like, yeah, of course we'd like leads. So I spent 9 months, spent thousands of dollars building out this software, went through like 2 or 3 developers. We finally get to launch day, and within about 2 weeks of launching, I knew my idea was not going to work. And here's what happened. So I got my initial beta users to go ahead and submit requests to like multiple plumbers or multiple lawn care or appliance people, and they'd request, to contact 6 or 7 at once, and usually like maybe 1 would get back, maybe 2 if they were lucky, and I was baffled because every business had told me in my face that of course they would want leads. So I called them, and I said, what the heck? I just sent you leads, you didn't respond. And their response was, oh, well, we're busy. This is our busy season. Like, we can't take on more work. And so I said, well, why'd you say you needed the leads then? Well, because like on Thursday afternoons in September, it's slow. But right now during the summer, it's totally busy. And so that taught me a couple things. One, you want to get to action as quick as possible. When people tell you face to face that you have a good idea or they're willing to use your service, take that at like 10% truth. What you want to take as truth is actually getting them to use your service. So I had interviewed customers, like the end users, like just regular people like you and I, and they said they would appreciate using the app. And they did. They thought it was easier to contact 6 or 7 at once. But when they only got 1 or 2 business responses back, it wasn't that valuable because they could have just called one business instead. So that's where when you actually do things, when you get to the point where you're testing your ideas, that's where pivots will come along. So pivots are when you take what you thought was your business model or your business idea and you make slight or serious adjustments. Normally when you're doing a startup, those pivots are pretty significant. It's not small tweaks, a lot of times it'll be big tweaks. But the difference between a pivot and just changing your business idea is a pivot is based on actual knowledge and evidence. So I went out and did something, I got feedback, I firsthand saw it, users used my product or I tried to sell it, and now that I have reaction and I have reactionary data, then I make decisions after that point. So Jabari was asking, like, where can I? It's okay to start from A and then move to C and D. And my response is start with A, execute A, and then you'll figure out what B is. Because what I'm trying to say is you don't know what B is at the moment, because if you haven't launched your product or if you haven't tried to test your service, you simply don't know what B is because you don't have enough data. It's a guess. It's a fairy tale. And so we try to get you to that point as quickly as possible.